Welcome back, Design and Draw. So last week you practiced a bunch of different things to get ready for your Scratchboard. You even did a little mini Scratchboard. This week you're gonna actually jump in and you're gonna start on your final Scratchboard. So right now we're gonna go through those instructions. This project will take you through this week and through next week because it's about a 2-week project, because you really should take your time with it, get lots of really good details. Like you see right here on my screen, that's the students from last year, and you can see the tiny little marks. So I want to make sure that I give you plenty of time to be able to recreate your textures and make this look awesome. But let's jump into those instructions. So first thing, these are all things you should have done last week, but they're really important to make sure you understand what you're doing prior to actually getting started. So last week you should have watched the instruction video, which had tons of examples, including a lot of student examples, and you should have done everything in the prep work folder, which was like practicing drawing animals, practicing creating texture, and an actual little scratch board, okay? That brings us to right now. So you should choose an animal that you would like. You probably already have one in mind. And you need to find an image of that animal that you want to use. So maybe it's a pet and you have an image on your phone or on your laptop already. Pets are always great. These make great like birthday and holiday gifts because what's more personal than like a piece of art about your pet or maybe like a friend or a family member's pet. So that's a great option as long as it's a clear photo and you have like an interesting composition. The animal is taking up the full photo. If you don't want to do a pet or you don't have a pet and you want to do a different animal, maybe it's more of an exotic animal or an animal that you can't get to sit still to be able to take the photo, I suggest going to unsplash.com, which is linked here, to find a stock photo of an animal. So this is Unsplash. I typed in lion and you can see there's already tons of different examples that I could use that are free to use as opposed to just going to Google, which many of them are copyrighted. A couple other image guidelines. So must have great detail and texture. In order for you to create great detail and texture on your final Scratchboard, your image also has to include that. It must not be too simple. And so, for example, we are not doing any cartoons or any clip art. It's not gonna work. You can't get texture. We want a real photo. Number 3, image must hold meaning to the artist. So make sure you're choosing something that actually matters. That goes for every piece of art you do. There's no point in putting in all this effort and time if you're just like picking out the first animal that pops up. Okay, so put some thought into it. Choose maybe a pet that means something to you or an animal that means something to you. And of course, for reference purposes, you need to be able to look at that photo often. So whether you're able to print it out, that's my personal preference, is to have it printed so I don't have to rely on like my laptop battery or my phone, but you need to at least be able to look at it. So whether it's on your phone or on your laptop, you have to have that the entire time you're working, to zoom in on different areas to make sure that you're making that photo realistic when you do the Scratchboard. Some examples of photos that won't work. So this is my dog, Delilah. She's pretty cute. That's also my daughter on top of her. And this is a photo from last year. My daughter's a little bit bigger now. And my daughter has put all of her toy horses so that Delilah can hold them, because I'm sure Delilah really wanted that. This photo is not gonna work, okay? It's a cute photo, but we have things interfering. So for example, I can't see the rest of her paw right there. And my daughter's head is on her back. There's a lot going on and I can take a better photo for sure to work from. This one, even more not gonna work. My daughter is now literally on top of her and it's blurry. It's funny, but it's not gonna work. Composition's not interesting. She's on a fuzzy pillow, and so not good. Now this one, on the other hand, is a great option. So I can see the details very easily, the texture, she's filling up that photo. I can even see details in her eyes. Lots of ways to go with this. And so this one would absolutely work. And when I go to do it, I'm going to want it to be in black and white so that I can see all of those details very easily. And I can recreate those values very easily. Another thing to keep in mind, if you're trying to find a photo and you want to make sure that it means something, I've had a lot of students in the past choose to do photos of animals from local animal shelters. So I've actually linked 3 different ones here. Sometimes it's nice to pick out an animal in need and spotlight them. We can share your final image with the animal shelter. I'm happy to reach out if you're not, or you can reach out. And it helps just bring attention to those animals, and hopefully your art can help get them seen. So that's another awesome option. The Kansas City Local Zoo also has given us permission to be able to use any of the images that you find on their website. So here is a link to a list of animals that you can find on the Kansas City Zoo. And so if you want a nice variety of animals who live in town but are not just typical pets, this is another great option. All right, so once you have your image picked out, that brings us to step number 3. So for step 3, you are going to trace your animal, trace the contours onto the Scratchboard to make those indents very lightly so that you can then start scratching and see where those contours are. Now, ideally, you will have a printer where you can print off your image in black and white like you see I've done here. And let me grab mine. So everyone should have a blank Scratchboard, a big one that has been put in your supply kits. This is what you're going to be using. And then this is my parents' new little puppy. Her name's Rory. My daughter named her after Aurora. And she's so sweet, so I thought she would be another great option, a great image, a great composition. So I printed her out in black and white. And really easy, just like you did with the raccoon practice. I would then just place that on top of the Scratchboard, and then I would use a pen to trace all of those major contours, take this off. I can use this as my reference now, and then I would be able to see all the little indents on here. That is option A, and that is my favorite, most simple option. However, I'm very aware that not everyone has a printer at home. So here are a couple other options. Option B, you can email me your photo and I will print it off for you. I am happy to do that, and then I'll put your name on it and I will leave it in the lead office along with any other supplies you might need. So if you're realizing you need something else or an additional Scratchboard, just let me know and I will always just put supplies there as soon as I can. Or option C, if you really can't get to lead to pick that up and you don't have a printer, another way to do it is to take your image on your computer, make sure that it's filling up the screen so you can put it on like a slideshow and have that slideshow present so it's just filling the screen of your image. Take just a regular piece of paper, okay, and put that paper on top of your computer with the brightness all the way up and trace over it. So you're tracing those contours. So essentially, it would look kind of like this. This isn't regular paper, but it's the same idea. You just basically have just those contours drawn on here, okay? Then you could take this and put it on top of your Scratchboard and trace that on top of it to transfer those indents onto your Scratchboard. Should look exactly the same as if you printed it off, but that's another option if you can't print it off. And then just make sure you're always referencing your computer or your phone, wherever that actual photo is, so that you can still look at the actual image to see the details. Do not just reference this because this has no details. It's just the contours, okay? So those are options for step 3. Step 4 is recreate some textures, practice. Go back to your little raccoon practice, and on the side you should have room. Make sure that you know how to create all the textures that you need before you jump in, using hatching, cross-hatching, stippling. You can also go back to the original examples that I put in the intro to Scratchboard slideshow, so that you can see how other people have approached textures that are similar to yours. So for example, if I'm trying to do some kind of reptile, then I'll go back there and I'll find the example that has a reptile, and I'll look specifically at that one to see how they created it. Or if I know I'm doing a bird or a dog, I can look there to see how they've done it. Here are those examples. Again, you might have already watched these, but I think these are really helpful to have on while you're working, of some professional Scratchboard artists showing you how to do some things. And then basically you just work. So if you need to go back and reference the raccoon tutorial, I've linked it so that you can go back and see me actually scratching into a board, but you're gonna approach this exactly like you did with the raccoon. So you are going to trace everything, do the white outlines first, or the main white parts first, and then you're just gonna recreate those little textures, working a little bit at a time. You should be about halfway done by the end of week 1, and by the end of week 2, you should be totally done, ready to submit a clear image with your self-reflection and your final image to the class share as well, okay? And that's it. So have fun with this. Let me know. You have 2 weeks to work on this, but this definitely is a time-consuming project, so make sure you're starting it early and you're making good progress every single day. Take your time, do little marks. It really pays off for craftsmanship and your details in the end. And this is one of the ones that we will be doing a critique over as well. So we will do a Zoom critique the day after this is due, here in just a couple weeks. So I can't wait to see what you do.